Hey, if your social media strategy centers around regurgitating market data, you might be doing it wrong. Let's talk about it. I understand more than anyone how difficult it is to come up with great social media content. I mean, hey, I literally created a YouTube channel all about it, right? But there's a lot of agents out there who are not seeing results from their social media efforts, and I think that a big part of it is the way that we're talking about the real estate market on these public forums. I understand that as a professional realtor, you really want to showcase yourself as an expert in this industry and kind of show off the knowledge that you have, because we do take a lot of pride in understanding the market cycle and being able to read a little bit what's actually happening to create the current market events that we're seeing. However, if you are just parroting this data onto social media as a part of your social media strategy, you are confusing your audience at best, or worst, making them feel as if you don't care about them at all. There are three big factors that we need to consider when discussing something as complex as the real estate market data on social media. Those factors are relevance, context, and urgency. Let's start with relevance. A big problem that comes when just regurgitating data, and I'm so sorry for that word, but that's just kind of what it is, if you know. A big problem that comes when we're just sharing data blindly across all of our social media platforms is we're not taking into account the factor of relevance. And when I'm talking about relevance, I'm talking about whether or not the specific data points you're sharing are even relevant to your target market or your audience. What this really comes down to is understanding your niche. And if you're new to this channel, you might want to subscribe and then of course hit the bell notification icon, be notified every time I'm sharing new videos on this, because we talk about our niche and how that plays into our brand story and later on our marketing messages a lot. In fact, I even created an entire mentorship program centered around those factors because of how important they are in the cornerstone of your real estate business. It's really important to understand that your audience is going to be a specific group of homeowners or potential homeowners that are at a really unique place in the homeownership cycle. So a lot of times, if you're sharing market data that's very blanket, kind of high level, you might not be sharing data that's relevant to any one given person. So for example, if you are trying to attract more first-time home buyers into your marketing, right? That's the niche that you're going out to, and you're sharing data points that are more specific or relevant to homeowners who are looking to downsize and cash out on a lot of equity, there's going to be a disconnect there. And your audience is going to start tuning you out because you are not sharing content that's relevant to them. And this is going to apply to any lead source that you're marketing yourself on, right? So if you are sharing messages that is not relevant to that given audience that you're trying to tap into, you're going to see a suffering of your conversion rates. And so that's number one. We have to ensure that if we are going to share complex market data, it has to be relevant to the audience that we are providing it to. Now, again, number two, we're looking at context, right? So we covered relevance. Let's talk about context. Your audience does not speak realtor, okay? So it's really important to understand that while we are this close to the work that we do in this industry, the terms that you have acquired over your time in this space are terms that you did not know when you became a real estate agent, all right? And this is easy to forget when it becomes part of our vocabulary, but a lot of times when we're speaking to the public, we might be sharing words in passing that they have no context or understanding of. And this is a huge mistake, especially when it goes to social media, because if you're sharing a lot of big words or a lot of very niche industry specific words on there, even if something as simple as under contract, which in my market is a designation on the MLS for when they have accepted an offer and they are entertaining backups, that term doesn't mean anything to the public. And it even took me a little while to figure that out. The public might understand a word like pending, but if you have a more niche word, like in my MLS, you're going to have to adjust that articulation so that when you are sharing marketing messages, it's actually going to land with your intended audience. And I know this sounds really simple, right? Like this seems like really basic knowledge, but look back to some of your social media posts and see if you are sharing content that might make you feel like you know what you're talking about, but could become confusing for the individuals on the other side of that. Now, understanding this helps us realize that cumulatively, data can be very difficult to translate for the average homeowner. So for example, I might know the exact number of listings that are on the market actively in my area at this moment. And I might also know how that compares to a year ago or even 30 days ago. For me, as a realtor who's actively working with many clients, this is knowledge that I have to have. But if I'm just sharing those details across social media without taking a step further to create context for that information and help whoever is reading that understand what that actually means for them in their specific situation, then it's going to fall flat and they're going to tune me out. So again, I challenge you to look back at some of your social media posts and see if this is an area where you might be able to improve to see better results. And finally, urgency. Okay, so we discussed relevance, we discussed context. Let's talk about urgency. Now, urgency is an important factor in sales. It's an easy way to add pressure to encourage a potential home buyer or home seller to get off of the fence. And urgency can look like, now's the time. You gotta strike now. The busy season's coming. The market is at an all-time high. Interest rates are starting to climb, right? Urgent, urgent, urgent. But if that is your marketing plan and you are creating data points in order to support the constant hum of urgency so that you hopefully can get people off the fence, what's happening here? If something is always urgent, it is never urgent. So if you're that agent who's constantly saying, data point, data point, data point, now's the time to buy, or data point, data point, data point, now is the time to sell, if that's been your marketing message for the last 3 years, why is your audience going to believe you? If what you're saying today is ultimately the exact same thing you said a year ago, they have no reason to really believe or even buy into the message that you're sharing, which is why a lot of times social media marketing strategies can become watered down in this space and why engagement starts to drop. Okay, so I hope that this gives you some things to chew on. If you are going to share market data on social media, it has to be relevant. You have to provide context. And you have to understand how you are applying urgency. And a lot of times when I'm seeing other agents speak about the market on social media, they are doing this dead wrong. So here's what I want you to think about doing instead. Having really effective marketing for your real estate business comes down to caring enough about your audience, i.e. ideal client, i.e. the group of home buyers and home sellers that you ideally in a perfect world want to be working with. It's about understanding this group of people well enough to speak to their desires, to speak to their pain points, to speak to their problems, to speak to their stressors, and understand what you have to offer in such a way that positions you as the perfect fit for their unique problems. It's about crafting data into a story that's going to explain what it is you offer in that unique situation. This is the way you stand out from your competition. This is the way you compel somebody to hire you over your competition, regardless of how new you are or of how new you are in that market segment. Because at the end of the day, if the audience that you're speaking to understands and feels heard by what it is you're sharing, you are going to be much more successful at cultivating that know, like, and trust factor. And you're going to have people coming to you, asking you if you are taking on new clients and would you please, please, please help them list their home, or would you please, please, please help them with their home purchase. Otherwise, you're just sharing market data to make yourself sound smart. And that is not a marketing strategy, that is an ego play. Now, if you are nodding your head along with me and you're like, yeah, this makes total sense, Steph, then we really ought to talk, because this is exactly why I created the Market Authority Academy. In the Market Authority Academy, we work with agents to help them understand their unique brand and build that story into a marketing plan that is going to be designed to attract and convert their ideal clients. And then we help you build in the systems of your business to convert them and get them to the closing table and help them become clients for life who are excited to support your business and refer you to everybody that they know. This is exactly how we helped agents like Lindsay grow from 5.4 million in volume her first year to tracking up to 30 million in 2022, just 2.5 years later, right? So it works. This is a great system for agents who totally get what I'm sharing here. So you can apply to speak with me below, apply to the program. We'll hop on a call. We'll listen a little bit to where you're at now and where you want to be. If it seems like I can help, then we'll take it from there. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, keep on crushing it.